first of all, before we start, do you like my new shoes? Do you like my new Vivos? Vivo Barefoots? Discount code Vincent15. Just got it. Welcome back to another video. It is a beautiful day, but it's actually freezing. So today we are training delts. One of actually my not so strong points, but I'll show you what I do to get them as big as possible. I've done, I think, 2 videos on delts, so I'm gonna give you something slightly different this time. As always, I will break down every single one of the exercises, give you all the tips and why I train the way I do. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Make sure you leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's go. The first exercise will be face pulls. This is a great exercise for your red delts, but notice how I shrug my shoulders blades back before pulling the rope. This is to also work on strengthening my scapula, and this also helps you learn how to engage your shoulder blades when performing the exercise. A few things I like to do is making sure to grip the rope with both my fists facing each other. Also, a great cue for face pulls is imagine performing in a front double bicep pose. This is a good way to make sure you are actively performing the exercise in the correct way. As you have noticed in the video, I also like to pull the rope slightly over my head rather than an actual face pull. I find that I can get a better contraction of my rear delts performing the exercise this way. Superset with a weighted scap pull-up, one of the best exercises to help with improving shoulder strength, especially with overhead pressing movements, and helps with improving shoulder stability. It's also a great exercise to help reduce shoulder injuries. It's pretty simple, using a dumbbell, or you can use a weighted belt or a vest. Hanging off the bar, all you need to do is shrug upwards whilst trying to keep your arms as straight as possible. Make sure to maintain a nice and controlled movement even during the eccentric, just like you would any other exercise. The seated Arnold press is one of the staples in my delts routine. This exercise helps to engage all 3 deltoid muscle heads, so the anterior, lateral, and posterior. With the Arnold press, I like to make sure my elbows don't drop down to my sides, so keeping them just below your chest. This is to keep my shoulders engaged throughout the exercise. If you pay close attention, you will notice my delts are engaged throughout the exercise. If you let your elbows drop too low, then your shoulders are no longer engaged, and the reason I do this is to keep the muscle under tension throughout the exercise. It does make it harder, and you will probably have to scale down your usual weight, but like I always say, form over ego. Tempo is key, so control that eccentric as much as possible. It should be a nice and smooth movement during the concentric and eccentric. And yes, even under fatigue, try and control the movement as much as possible. So next, the chest support lateral. Now, I know everyone probably performs lateral raises, but the reason I like to perform them this way is to stop using momentum to lift that dumbbell up. We've all seen people swinging those weights up like they're about to fly out the gym. Well, by performing the flies this way, it forces you to actually use your delts to lift that dumbbell up. Make sure when raising the dumbbell up, stop just about shoulder height, as usually when we raise the dumbbell past our delts, it's our trap that's doing most of the work and our delts are no longer engaged. I sometimes like to use a false grip, which means using less forearms to perform the exercise, which in turn forces your delts to do more work. As always, control that tempo to try and keep the muscle under as much tension for longer. Yes, it's harder, but that's the fun part. This is one of my favorite exercises for my delts. It's a great way to perform lateral raises using a cable, and by lying down on the bench, it makes it more challenging as it stops you using momentum when performing the exercise. If you pay attention, you will notice how my delts are engaged throughout the exercise, and that's one of the great things about performing this exercise. Make sure, just like the previous exercise, to stop just about where your elbow aligns with your shoulders, and also control the tempo on the way down. And superset with reverse flies. This is always a tricky exercise to perform, as most of us use too much traps and very little rear delt engagement, which of course isn't the aim of this exercise. A few things I like to do is to keep the weight light at first, because most people I see always go way too heavy on this. Next, I like to stop shoulder width apart during the eccentric, and also this would sound very strange, but think about pulling the cable with your rear delts rather than just pulling with your forearms. So engage your rear delts first, then pull the cable. By watching the video, you can clearly see my delts fully engaged throughout, and yes, there will be some traps, but it's a minimum. It's all about trying to keep a nice and controlled tempo. Now, this is one of those exercises that looks easy, but it is far from it. Not only is it a great shoulder exercise, it's also a really good core exercise too. You will have to engage your core, keep your chest up, and also drive the floor down with your heels when performing the exercise. Performing the presses this way actually makes it harder due to sitting on the floor and taking away your legs from the movement. Again, just like most of the exercises in this session, I am removing the opportunity of using any form of momentum when performing the exercise, and therefore making your delt work twice as hard. And then superset with the deficit pike push-ups. This is one of my favorite bodyweight shoulder exercises. Performing the push-ups this way focuses more on building shoulder strength and reducing chest involvement. Performing the push-ups in a deficit increases range of motion, making it more difficult. However, you can just perform a standard pike push-up on the floor. So when performing the pike push-up, make sure you brace your core, keep your core as tight as possible. Legs straight, elbows out, and then slowly go down to the floor. Notice again the nice and controlled tempo. Even if you can't finish the reps, make sure it's quality rather than quantity. I rather you do 6 to 8 good reps than doing 10 reps and it's all with bad form. That's the video. Hope you enjoy the workout. Yeah, any questions, leave a comment below. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video, and of course make sure you subscribe. Till the next time, peace out.